we can grind cornmeal in here with this mill with the water power. Yeah, so I try to keep the water shut off down here, keep it as dry as I can. We had a homeschool, a bunch of homeschool kids come last Friday, and I opened this and ground some cornmeal for them and stuff. So I just shut it off a couple of days ago. And
how old is this?
This whole building was built in 1895, as far as we know. So my family bought this farm in the 50s. The original raceway was wooden, and it was all rotted away.
Okay.
And my uncle rebuilt this, or built this rock raceway in the 90s. And got this boiler flue set back. This building was rotted off, it was gone.
Okay.
The boiler flue and turbine were sitting over in the, laying down in the spring branch. And somehow he got that all set back up and rebuilt this and built that.
Okay.
And got it set back up and started grinding corn in the early 90s.
Okay.
That makes the best fish bait that there is.
Yeah. Really?
Uh-huh.
Mark, you might
Find
need
one?
some of that. You're
Find
gonna
one
love
there?
it. Whoa, that's wild looking.
I've never seen one with, it looks like eggs. I've never seen one with those on it. They're usually just black and yellow.
Yeah.
Can you see
That's
that
kind of a little one.
Yeah.
Let's have seed pods. What? That's crazy.
Must be eggs on them.
Oh, goodness.
I don't know. Maybe that's what I've never seen one with stuff on there like that. I'm like you. They look like eggs. Why are they attached to him all over the place like that? I mean, maybe they lay eggs and they attach like that.
My brother's praying mantis has eggs all over it.
Yeah, we walk down here and you can see this. To run that stone with.
That's insane.
Water, water.
That water's 56 degrees.
Oh!
It's cold.
I like to check that.
Spring water. Good spring.
It's beef flavored water.
Beef flavored water.
You probably could,
Yeah.
you know, if you could get it where it comes up out of. Most of this is 2 and 3 and 4 foot deep.
Yeah.
But out there where that, you can see a different color out there, because that's the cover over now. But that's about 13 feet deep out there, and that's where the water
Oh,
comes
wow.
up out there.
Put that on my scratches from the puppies. Yeah.
You're going to water, you keep it wrong. That's when they built it, 1960. That's when they built this bridge. This mill still has all the original equipment that was supposed to go in here in 1903.
Wow. That's pretty neat.
You want dowdiness in there?
Yeah. Just a few.
It says the flour in this mill was made with what's called steel roller mill system. That system was invented in the 1870s. Before that, all grain was ground with stone. And if you can't grind your grain, you can't cook with it. They've been grinding grain for 10,000 years or longer. Ever since they started growing grain, they've been grinding because they realized that. Usually, they did it between 2 rocks, you know, until you know, quite a while ago. But these are the roller mills. There's 5 pieces of equipment on the second floor that go with these roller mills. This first roller mill, made refined flour, which is not whole grain flour. To make whole grain flour, you grind a whole piece of wheat up and use all of it. To make refined flour, you break that grain of wheat open, you take the husk off the outside, which is the bran, you separate that. You separate the germ, which is if you plant that grain of wheat, the germ's what grows a new plant. So that's separated, and all that's left is that white starchy stuff called the endosperm inside that grain of wheat. The first roller mill cracks the grain of wheat apart. Then it goes up and starts getting separated and sifted and cleaned. And these 2 roller mills have smooth rolls. This has got corrugated rolls. Those have smooth rolls. That's what smashes the endosperm. It's not really ground. You always hear the term grind flour. Well, it's 2 big 6-inch rollers are smashing that stuff. Yeah, this is what makes the flour, and the equipment on the second floor separates it and cleans it and stuff. So, but
Isn't that cool? Those are all shoots that.
bran was mixed with molasses and fed to dairy cows, because even today when you milk dairy cows, you give them a high protein sweet food to get them in the barn and to calm them while they're milking. While they're getting milk, to help them let their milk down. So molasses could be made out of any kind of a cane plant. They squeeze the juice out and boil it down and get molasses. And so they would mix bran with molasses because all the protein in a grain of wheat's in the bran. And they take it off and throw it away and we eat the junk. Endosperm has no nutritional value to it. Mice can't even live on endosperm. They know better than to get in it. They've learned, because I read somewhere that somebody was asking a miller how to keep the mice out of his flour. And they said they don't get in it because they don't. So that's what we eat. Actually, the receipt from there dated May 2nd, 1903, from when all this equipment was bought to go in this building.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, I've had people say this is probably the most valuable thing because we've had people from all over the United States been to mills everywhere, and nobody's ever said they've seen anything like this.
Yeah.
There's nothing like this exists anywhere. But that writing was on the wall over there when they bought the farm.
Really? Haircuts,
Haircut,
25 cents tonic, 10 cents.
Think about this. There's probably 500,000 grocery stores in the United States that sell flour, and don't tell them how many bags of flour is on each one at any given time. All mills work pretty much the same. The reason all these buildings are so tall, like Alice Springs, all these mills are great, big, and tall. When they bring the wheat in, they dump the wheat in this bin in the basement. You think, what good's that going to do? Then these belts and cups pick it up out of the basement. You can see a bunch more of them right there.
Oh, yeah.
They pick it up, take it to the top floor, all the way to the top of the mill. And as that belt with cup full goes over the top of a pulley, it throws that grain out of that cup. And your empty cup and belt come back right down here. It's just continuous. And when it throws it out, it throws it into chutes, like the chutes that you see. Gravity feeds it down through, it would go through a piece of equipment on the second floor, come back down, either go through a roller mill or go back into the chute, back to the basement, get picked up again with the next set of belts and cups. Go back up, go through another piece of equipment. So on and so forth. Back up, back to the sheet, back down, back up. There's 9 sets of these across here that goes up and down. In this mill, it goes up and down 9 times from the time it's a grain of wheat dumped in there until the bran's taken off, the germ's taken out, and it's smashed into flour consistency. And the flour's put in this bin right here on the second floor. This is the flour bin. And this is where they would bag the flour. Here's actually the nails where they would hang the cotton sacks. And this is where they bagged the flour. Then they would weigh the flour on these scales. And the patent date on those scales is January 15th, 1856. That's not when those were made probably, but that's when that company patented those scales. And they still work and they're still real active.
Get on there, Mark. Let's see what you weigh.
He's got it set for him.
About 190. About what I weigh.
Let's see if I'm 190.
You're right at it.
Yeah.
Maybe 192. You're real close to it. Yep.
Heavy sandals.
A little more eating this week.
They were proud. This is their emblem from 1903. That's been on it since 1903. And that's pretty amazing to me.
Yeah.
That's actually 4-color.
And that's still on
That gear. But that gear runs those 3 roller mills, plus this belt that goes to the second floor that runs a line shaft that runs all those 5 pieces of equipment over there. But the stone for grinding corn, this is it, came from Todd's and Stanley Mill Furnishing in St. Louis, Missouri. Now, I can't find any information about that company at all. So they're way long defunct, I'm sure. But originally, this had a chute that came out of here. The corn goes in the top as kernel corn, comes out the bottom as cornmeal. And you can see, I ground corn a week ago today when those homeschool kids were here. And this is some of the corn that I ground. Now these stones aren't very sharp and they got hunks out of them and it doesn't grind it very fine.
Right.
So my uncle rigged this up and this sits there and shakes. So this is what comes out down below. That's cornmeal.
Okay.
You can see there's a little bit left. The mice haven't eaten all of it.
Right.
This is what I ground. There's mouse poop in there.
Yeah.
This is what I ground last Friday for the homeschool kids. Was that cornmeal right there. But originally, this had a chute. When the stones were new, you didn't have to screen it through this, from what I understand. I don't know where it would have been anyway. There could have been a screen right here. I don't know that. But the cornmeal came out of here, got picked up with this set of belts and cups in the basement, went up to the second floor, and as it went over the top, it threw the cornmeal out of that cup and into this chute right here. And right here's where they bagged the cornmeal. And your empty cup came back down here. See, it's just continuous, just like the flour. But the corn only has 2 sets of belts and cups, because making cornmeal is real simple.
three of you could stand on the grid.
They'll fly around you and you'll go like this, but they roll on you. Okay, this is the flour bin above where you bag the flour. This is how big the flour bin is.
Wow.
Flour goes in there, okay? That's the final step of the flour thing. It goes down through there and then it's flour. It goes up at first set of belts and cups. It goes through this. This is the cleaner. This is the Eureka New Improved Dustless Milling Separator. This piece of equipment came from Silver Creek, New York. This is the Eureka company. I've seen equipment in other mills and different catalogs from this day and age of the Eureka company. They made lots and lots of milling equipment. Now this came a long ways to get here. But outside of that says Victor Smutter with the Sun, Bernard and Lee's Manufacturing, Moline, Illinois. Patented Great Britain, 1876 is what it says on the side of that sign right there.
Wow.
After it goes through those two machines, then it goes through the first roller to break the grain of wheat apart. Then it comes up here and goes through this thing. It's called a bran duster. This little thing right here, somehow, evidently, a bunch of the bran gets the endosperm stuck to it. The endosperm is what you're making flour out of. And evidently, the endosperm sticks to the bran. Somehow, I have no idea how this works. It cleans the endosperm off the bran. The bran bin's right below this. What gets cleaned off of there goes into the flour making process. So these are horse, either mane or tail, and they've been on there since 1903, 120 years.
They've done pretty good.
They're still pretty good shape. The company called it a bolter. It sits there and goes like this, real fast. It shakes real fast. There's different grades of screens in this. There's 6 chutes that go into the top of this for those belts and cups. Somewhere along the process, it's going into this thing. This is the part that gets me. There's 27 chutes that come out of the bottom of this. In it, and it goes into this machine right here. And this is called a flour dressing machine or a dresser. This is a improved centrifugal flour dressing machine. This drum right here has a screen all the way around. Okay? The product went in the middle of this screen. This thing right here was turning real fast, throwing that product up against the screen. So the last chute that went down into the last set of belts and cups and got picked up and taken and put in the flour bin over there. And that's the flour making process. And see right here, this is some of the flour that's left from 1930. Little bitty pieces in those holes that you can see is a little bit.
Is that the last time that this mill was run in 1930?
We think. Late 30s, early 40s, we're not real sure. From what I understand, they probably quit making flour, but made cornmeal later. One line down this way, and this column and across, and we went up there one day, and this thing had fell down. And my wife said, we need that back at the house.
Oh, yeah.
There it is.
It'll be a little bit cooler in here for some reason, for a while. I don't know why, but it always is.
We'll just go dip down in the spring.
Help yourself. I'll be standing on the bank watching. I've been in there 1,000 times. I know what it's like.
Oh. This is cool. Whew.
They'll have to sign their book.
Huh?
I said they'll have to sign their
Yeah,
book.
there you go. You sign the book right there.
Well, you've been back.
We were in July, weren't we?
Yeah.
Whew.
Let's see when that was.
And it slides out.
See, it's not called what you thought.
Yeah, don't just fold
Oh,
it.
okay, yeah.
Murphy patented this technology in the 19-teens, and when he did that, they were all one piece. They
That's
fold up
right.
into a cabinet, or they fold up into the
So
wall.
what's this one called?
This is called a double fold cabinet bed.
A double fold cabinet.
This right here, this little piece of metal holds the mattress down. See how complicated that is?
Yeah.
But it says on top of this little piece, patented August 10 of 86. And that's not 1986.
Right.
Well, that was patented in 1886.
Yeah.
But he goes down to the camp.
Oh, okay, and
His
puts on
ma-
classes and stuff.
Well, yeah, his master's degree is in outdoor education. So he goes down for that and helps
knows-
out, does some night hikes and
Knows
stuff
what-
like that.
Okay, oh yeah.